back to another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. How you doing tonight there, T-Dog?
Doing pretty good, J-Man. Episode 325. Got a lot to talk about. Denver Broncos introduced their 20th head coach in franchise history today. Which, when they said 20th, I'm like, wait a second. It should be 17. But they counted 3 interim in the history.
No.
So,
who all were the interims?
Well, they just had Jerry Roseberg this past year.
That's right.
Eric Studsville back in 2010 after McDaniels got fired. And then a guy back in the 60s.
Gotcha. You know, already some of the stuff Sean Payton's saying needs to happen.
Oh, he's going to lay down the law.
Russ can't have any outside coaches in there.
Oh, Team 3 is not coming in. So he's laying down the law, which it's on Russ to play. I honestly think it's on Russ to play well this year. If not, even though it's going to kill the salary cap, I think the Broncos will cut ties with him after this year if he doesn't produce.
Probably have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm doing good. Hopefully I'll be one stroke closer at the end of this podcast for Birdie or Bogey, because you have a 2-stroke lead on me already early in this
commanding 2-stroke lead.
That is 2023, but let's see if you're going to go up or go down, because there's no par tonight. It's either a birdie or a bogey. It's a one-person answer. So over the past week, it was the anniversary back in 2009 when Kobe Bryant scored 61 points in a win over the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. At the time, it was the most points ever scored by a visiting player. Since then, it's been matched by one player. Who is that player that has scored 61 points in Madison Square Garden along with Kobe Bryant?
Seems like it's just recently, and I have no idea. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Once again, I have failed to bring up the read on either my phone or the computer, but Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere. I saw a special they had over the weekend. They have the prime rib sandwich special tonight, which is prime rib with caramelized onions, provolone cheese, banana peppers, horseradish cream sauce, and a cup of au jus. But I was looking, and they had some specialty. I think it was a burger over the weekend. I'm trying to find it. Maybe they didn't. Oh, it was the Thursday night special. Waffle bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, I want to try that really bad.
Burger with pepper jack cheese and applewood bacon, sandwiched between 2 pearl sugar waffles. Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, man, I have to make the trek.
That sounds like a special just made for the J-Man.
It does. It should have just been called the J-Man.
It should have.
Maybe we should call up the owner and have him change that for us.
I also see they're going to do a Valentine's Day special next week. I don't have it pulled up. I was hoping you have it up on your Facebook.
I did. I no longer do. But I will bring it up real quick. Let's see. A 4-course Valentine's Day menu for couples, February 14th from 4 to 9 p.m. Get your reservations now. Each couple's meal is $2 for $90 and includes all 4 courses. Super salad course. You got a shareable starter course. You have entrees. You have desserts. In the entree, you can get filet mignon, ribeye. You can get roasted chicken, blackened shrimp, pasta primavera, porterhouse for $2. You can add a lobster tail to any entree for $20. So get some food.
Pretty good special going on there.
I hope you have no other questions to ask me, because I've already closed out of it.
I do not. So I trying to make a post here on Facebook about our show, and it's not wanting to cooperate with me. So I'm just doing just a regular old post. I was trying to tag all of our sponsors, but Facebook's being a jerk. So
Meta is being a jerk.
Yeah, Meta world peace. All right. So what do you want to start with tonight?
It's totally up to you.
Well, I kind of talked about it earlier, but let's go ahead and talk NFL coaching carousel. Then we'll talk Super Bowl. Then we can get into some Big Ten hoops. But 2 more NFL coaches found homes this past week. D'Amico Ryans going back to where he played most of his NFL career at in the Houston Texans. 6-year deal there. Hopefully they'll give him some time. I think they will. But thought they'd give. Well, I didn't think they'd give Lovie Smith some time. Let's be honest. But
he was a dead man walking the moment he signed that contract.
I don't even recall who the coach was before him, but he only got a year as well.
His name was.
That sounds right. So hopefully they'll give him some time. It's going to be a total rebuild. They have the number 2 overall pick. Got to think they're going to go quarterback if they stay there, or even if they move up, they'll go quarterback, I guess. I don't see them moving out of the number 2 spot backwards. So I think he'll be a good fit. Interesting division there. I'm still up for grabs, even though I think Jacksonville's probably going to take control of it for the next 5 years or so. And then, like I said, Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos, which was a really interesting coaching search. Lasted 3 weeks. It was kind of all over the map, depending on who you followed. Jim Harbaugh was their number 1 choice, according to some. Sean Payton was their number 1 or 2 choice. DeMeco Ryans was their number 2 choice. So I don't know. It was probably one of those things we'll never know exactly how it really panned out behind closed doors. But they got Sean Payton away for Fox for a 5-year deal, a big money deal. I think it was $17 million, $18 million a year. He, like I said, I think got to lay down the law, and we'll see if he can get the Broncos back on track. I just take a winning record right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take 9-8 in a heartbeat. They haven't had a winning record since 2016 when they went 9-7. Haven't made the playoffs since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl, of course. So they have the second longest playoff drought in the NFL behind the Jets, who haven't made it in 10 years. So just give the fans some fun football to watch, get some winning ways back. I like today, they asked him in the press conference, who are you picking in the Super Bowl, Eagles or Chiefs? He said, I'm picking the Eagles. Never root for anybody in our division to win anything. I'm like, finally. I feel like the last 3 head coaches haven't cared about in-division rivals at all.
Yeah.
So,
that's a brutal division, but Sean Payton obviously knows what he's doing. He's won a Super Bowl. He was a bad call away from going to another one. He had a real good chance to win that one too if they would have called that pass interference there on the Rams. But I think Russell Wilson has been, for the most part, we never really knew this until the past 2 years or so. It seems like pretty selfish guy.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like pretty me oriented, not real team oriented. Sean Payton's not going to put up with that. So
no.
And again, we kind of mentioned it right at the start that he's already kind of laid down the law a little bit, because I guess Russ would have his own personal coaches in there, and Sean said right away, nope, not going to be a thing that happens here.
Nope. I think Hackett kind of let Russ do whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to fly with Sean Payton. So we'll see how it, I'm not ramping my hopes up to, dial 10 like I did last year around this time, or a few weeks from now last year, I guess. But I'm excited. That's who I wanted. You can even go back on my Twitter, and every time I put the candidates, he was my number 1 on every list. So I'm excited about it. Excited to have an experienced coach. First time they've had an experienced coach since Gary Kubiak. That worked out pretty well. And it's just kind of unique, the Eastern Illinois ties, quarterback ties to him and Mike Shanahan, who also was quarterback at Eastern Illinois. So kind of interesting there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how aggressive they are in free agency. They don't have any first-round pick to be aggressive with. So we'll see. And the 2 other jobs are still open. Arizona Cardinals and Indianapolis Colts taking their sweet time, going on their 4th week.
You gotta wonder if maybe both are waiting for a coach to kind of end his season this week. But it sounds like the Cardinals are down to Bengals DC.
Coach Lou.
Who else did they interview? There was one other guy. Now I can't remember his name.
It was Kafka.
That's right.
Kafka,
Kafka,
and
exactly.
the Giants. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking. And there's one other guy they're down to. Haven't heard a word about the Colts coaching search at all.
Aaron Glenn, I think that's his name. DC, and I know he's interviewed twice.
That defense was horrendous.
It sounds like they're gonna do a 3rd round of interviews with guys. I know Saturday interviewed twice. Jeff Saturday.
I hope he gets it. They'll go 2-15 next year, and Saturday will be back at ESPN.
If they do that, Irsay's going to lose a lot of the fans. I really think.
I think he's lost quite a few at this point. It's been a rough couple years now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Like you said, maybe they're waiting for Gannon and Philadelphia, or maybe the OC. Why is his name escaping me? Of KC,
Bieniemy?
Yep. Which I think his kind of criminal past is the reason he hasn't landed.
Haven't really heard his name for jobs here. This coaching carousel month, like you have the previous couple years.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see who those teams get, but usually the coaching searches are wrapped up by now.
Yeah. I think we talked about last week, Frank Reich going to Carolina. I don't remember if he was hired, but then seems like he's putting a really good staff around him, including Denver's DC from last year. What was his name? I don't remember how to pronounce
it. Averos is his last name, but I always struggle to pronounce his first name. And Denver let him out of his contract. Just let him. He didn't want to be there, so they let him go.
Yeah, once you have a guy that you interview for a head coaching job and then you don't give it to him, that was already on your staff, makes it a little awkward.
Yeah, they did block him a couple weeks ago from interviewing with Atlanta for their DC position, but at the time he was still in the mix for Denver's head coaching job potentially. So, and Sean Payton supposedly met with him, talked with him last week. Obviously, wanted to go in a different direction. They brought in Brian Flores to talk to, but he just accepted the Minnesota Viking defense coordinator job within the last hour. So good for him. So I don't know who Denver's going to hire for OC or DC. They did hire Payton announced in his press conference they hired one of his own for an offensive line coach, one of his former offensive linemen in the Saints back in 2006. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about offensive coordinator because Sean Payton calls the plays anyways. But it's more defensive coordinator because the Broncos have had good defenses mainly for the past 6 to 7 years. So want to keep that going. Just good score points. And Vic Fangio, new defense coordinator down in Miami for your Dolphins.
Yeah. That is the moment they fired Josh Boyer. That is the guy I wanted. McDaniel wanted to bring him in last year, but they wanted to kind of go status quo there in the defensive room, which it makes sense because they had such a great year, especially towards the end of the year defensively, where Jalen Phillips kind of broke out. Javon Holland was great. Other guys were good. But this year with all the injuries and Josh Boyer just didn't adjust, he'd go that zero blitz against Josh Allen on 3rd and 15 in the playoff game. With that lack of depth there in the defensive backfield, you're putting those guys on islands when you're doing that. And Xavion's getting older. He'll be 30 this year. Byron Jones was hurt all year. Nick Needham blew out his Achilles in week 6 or something like that. Brandon Jones tore his ACL at the game I was at against Pittsburgh. So they just didn't have guys that could cover, and they got whooped, and the pass rush wasn't as good as it should have been. And you're bringing in a Vic Fangio. What style of defense did he run? Was it like a multiple? Was it 3-4, 4-3?
Yeah, it was a little mix. It was a little mix.
Okay.
Pretty aggressive style.
Which, I mean, he's known for disguising everything, which Josh Boyer did not do a very good job of. Bradley Chubb's best years came with Vic Fangio's defensive coordinator, so hopefully he can take him to another level. Jalen Phillips has turned into an absolute star at the other side, on the opposite side of Bradley Chubb. Christian Wilkins had the best year of his career this year. So definitely some pieces to work with. They need some depth. The secondary, they need some linebacker help. But that was the one thing missing from that Dolphins team, and the reason why they didn't have a better record. They did end up getting the playoffs, of course, but they'll be able to score points. I'm not worried about that. It's all about defense, and hopefully Vic can turn them around.
Oh, he's a good defense coordinator. I think he did right thing sitting out last year, and I don't even think he really wanted to be a head coach in the first place when Denver hired him. But for whatever reason, he interviewed, he took it, and it just didn't work out. But he had good defenses out there, and there's
great defenses in Chicago too.
Great defenses in Chicago, and there was even a rumor that Sean Payton was interested in bringing him back to Denver as defense coordinator, and I'm like, that would be awkward. Yeah, he literally just got fired a year ago. He would be coaching most of the same guys he already coached, and some of them towards the end didn't have the best relationship with him. So I was like, that would just be awkward. So I'm glad that didn't come to fruition at all. So before we talk about Super Bowl, did you watch any of the Pro Bowl festivities over the weekend?
Not a single one. Not a single second.
I watched the flag football game yesterday, and actually was surprisingly, I was pretty entertained.
Really?
I really was. I like flag football, though. I enjoyed playing flag football back in the day, and it was just something different, and it was fun to see the guys having fun and not wearing helmets, so you got to see their facial reactions and everything. And I don't know, they looked like a bunch of kids out there. I mean, it was fun to see Tyreek Hill play flag football.
Yeah,
he's fast in pads, let alone without pads. It was fun.
He still got jacked up by Jalen Ramsey, though.
Yes, he did, because that was, I don't know what Devontae Adams was doing flipping out.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to get in, but I don't know why he flipped the ball behind him.
People were ripping on we're ripping on Jalen Ramsey for doing it. He literally couldn't have done anything different.
Couldn't go anywhere. He got bumped into him. So it was cool. The Manning brothers took it very serious. There was a lot of bragging rights between the two on the line. So I enjoyed watching that.
The reason why I have a hard time tuning in is Tyler Huntley will forever
that was my complaint.
Be a Pro Bowler. Like, he'll forever have that title. Yeah. He was a backup quarterback his entire career, all year. Yep. And he was horrendous when he came in and played, but somehow he got a fourth alternate spot. I don't even know how that works.
There was a lot of other guys that should have got it over him, or at least been asked.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got it.
Josh Allen decided to play golf instead.
Sure.
It's just kind of just the all-pro teams are fine. I am glad they're not doing some sham of a football game, though, where flag football is probably
they're trying. They're trying anything they can.
And I'm sure people still watch it. I did not. I refused to watch it.
I was bored yesterday. Not much was on.
Bad TV day.
Yeah, it's always a bad sports TV day. Usually the Sunday between conference championship and Super Bowl weekend. But I just caught myself watching it, and then it was just kind of one of those things like, I just want to see how this plays out. So it was good game too. They played 3 games, 3 2-quarter games, and the NFC ended up winning by 3 because it was 50-yard field, and there was only 1 first down, and then you could run until you got to the 5-yard line. 5-yard line, then you couldn't run the ball. You had to pass. So,
and wasn't there a time limit on how long you could hold the ball to? Was it 4 seconds?
Yeah. And you could rush passer. I mean, there was a center and you could rush passer. They had Tyreek Hill rushing the passer at one time.
That's all
AFC, and he batted down a pass on 4th down and goal situations. So, it was different. I mean, I'm not saying it was great, but it was different. It beats an actual football game when they're not trying to tackle each other and turns into 2-hand touch.
Yeah, which is that's exactly what it was.
I mean, all the All-Star games have just started lacking interest for a lot of fans. I mean, the MLB one at least still means something, but
doesn't anymore.
Oh, did they take that away?
A couple years ago.
Oh gosh,
I think the last one was maybe 2017. That meant something.
Oh wow, where have I been?
The thing about baseball, though, you can't fake it. Where you can fake basketball, you can fake football, but those guys, pitchers coming in, they're actually throwing harder than they do in regular games, so it makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. I don't know. The hockey one, but I mean, that's tough on the goalies. You're going against the best scorers in the NHL. Yeah. That's always a high scoring one. The NBA is a dunk contest during the game, pretty much. I used to enjoy watching all of them as a kid, but I've got older. I don't really tune in too often.
I will say the best catch competition was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I did not see that.
I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip of it, and they're jumping off trampolines trying to make these crazy. It's just stupid. It was dumb. Some of the events were kind of cool where you had the linemen going through this gauntlet thing where they had to run through a couple walls and do that sort of stuff, which was kind of fun. But I saw clips of the best catch competition. It was so stupid. It was honestly stuff we try to do in pools, I guess, jumping off the diving board, trying to catch football. But
I was impressed by how many people were at the flag football game yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yep. But Super Bowl, or the Kelsey Bowl, a lot of them are calling. Brothers Jason Kelsey of the Philadelphia Eagles and Travis Kelsey of the Kansas City Chiefs going against each other. Who do you got in Super Bowl 57?
I know you wouldn't listen to it because it involves Travis Kelsey, but Jason and Travis's podcast,
they have a really good podcast.
Is fantastic. They're funny, all that. All this talk this week, Arian Foster saying that the NFL gives out a script every preseason of what's supposed to happen, and you're supposed to follow that script, which is the dumbest thing ever. However, I did see that somebody accidentally put the final score on Football Reference there. Did you see that?
No.
That the NFL released the script for the Super Bowl, and it had the Philadelphia Eagles winning 37-34. And you know what? I'm going to see if it comes true. This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. The Philadelphia Eagles will win the Super Bowl 37-34.
You know how many people are going to put that in Vegas now?
Yeah, there's going to be so many people doing that. I think the Chiefs are quite a bit better. However,
I'm not so sure.
Jalen Hurts his past 4 games, he's looked like Tyler Huntley out there. He's coming off an injury. Mahomes didn't play that great against Cincinnati. He had that high ankle sprain. It should be fairly healed now. The Eagles pass rush, though, man, 70 sacks this year. I think 18 more sacks than anyone else in the NFL or something like that. They can get after you. I think it'll be a very competitive game. Very competitive.
I think these are the 2 best teams on paper in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree.
I think San Francisco's right there, but they had to play with a 3rd-string quarterback down the stretch. And nothing against Brock Purdy because he played pretty well. But when he got injured in the NFC Championship, their hope was gone. So I think it should be a good game. I hope you're right, but I'm afraid you're not going to be right. And I'm afraid the Chiefs are going to get their 2nd Super Bowl victory in the last 5 years. And then maybe they've officially become the NFL, for a majority of the fans, their least favorite team. Maybe that will happen.
Yeah. I've gotten Chiefs fatigue. They have some likable guys. I like Travis Kelce. I know a lot of people don't because he's cocky.
Great football player.
Great football. Arguably, he might go down as the best tight end in the history of the NFL. Best
He's
pass
on pace.
catching tight end.
He's on pace.
Patrick Mahomes is a likable guy. His brother and wife are not.
Fair.
Trying to think of other dudes. I mean, you gotta like George Karlaftis there. He had a pretty good rookie year. I think he had 6 sacks. I think he had a sack in the AFC Championship game as well.
Yeah.
The Eagles, though, their fans are despicable.
Coach fits them perfectly.
Coach fits the fan base absolutely. I'm surprised he wasn't one of the guys trying to climb up a greased up pole after the NFC Championship game. I think it's a very, very competitive game. Who's favored? Do we know that?
I haven't checked.
I want to say Philadelphia's favored last time I heard on the tweeter.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I hope you're right that Philadelphia wins, but I'm going to take Kansas City 31-27.
Eagles are a 1.5 point favorite. That kind of surprises me that they're favored. But J-Man's Book Prediction Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Travis Watching for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watching@infb.com. Okay.
Yep, it's crazy. Think Super Bowl weekend's here already.
Seems like the season just started.
And it went by fast.
And the off season usually drags. Come about July 1, I'm ready. I'm ready, especially when my baseball team's out of it.
Well, it always ramps up with free agency, but that's right during NCAA tournament time.
Yeah.
So you got a ton going on all at once.
And then you have the NFL draft, which will give us a little bit of taste. But from the draft until training camp starts, nothing really happens.
Yeah. No, it's usually pretty quiet, or you hope it's quiet because that means you guys are staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm just ready for, I'm ready for some stability out in Denver. 5 coaches in 8 years.
It's crazy.
It's just laughable. Laughable. And I know Kubiak's was because of health reasons after 2 years, but the rest were just poor performances.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, do you want to get educated, J-Man?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me pull this up here.
I actually have it pulled up if you want me to do it.
Oh, I feel like you read it every week, so I'll give you the week
fair.
off. I'll give you the week off. All right, let's see. On this day, 1926, the NFL ruled that college students were ineligible until college classes graduate.
Could you imagine
whatever that means
if they did that now?
Oh, that'd be funny.
Didn't come here to play school.
Oh, Cardell Jones. On this day, 1958, future Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder Ted Williams became the highest paid player in MLB when he re-signed with the Boston Red Sox for $135,000.
Man, that's some money back then.
Teddy Williams. On this day, 1970, the NBA expanded to 18 teams, placing teams in Buffalo, Cleveland, Houston, and Portland. Buffalo doesn't have a team anymore, though. On this day, 1971, American astronaut Alan Shepard became the first person to hit a golf ball on the moon.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Any desire to go up into space?
No.
Me
I
either.
think it'd be fascinating, but I'm too much of a weenie.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm perfectly fine here.
I'd come encounter with a alien somehow.
You would discover an alien race.
Yep, I would.
It would not go well for you.
It would not. It would not. On this day in 1983, the Pro Bowl was played in Aloha Stadium in Honolulu, Hawaii. The NFC beat the AFC 20-19. Who was the MVP? There was actually two of them, two MVPs.
83. So this
one was in the
eight-
AFC, one was in the NFC.
82 season, 83 Pro Bowl. Joe Montana.
Good guess. One of them was a quarterback of Dan Fouts of the San Diego Chargers. And then John Jefferson, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
I've heard of Dan Fouts.
I hadn't heard of John Jefferson. Let's see what else we got here. On the thing, 1994, the Pro Bowl was played in Honolulu, Hawaii. The NFC beat the AFC 17-3. Who was the MVP for the NFC?
NFC in 94.
He was a wide receiver. I'll give you
The
that.
wide receiver in 94. Was it Chris Carter?
Good guess. Andre Rison, former
man.
Michigan State Spartan
Mhm.
of the Atlanta Falcons.
Falcons.
I'm just saying this because it's on here, and I'm kind of laughing about it because he wasn't that great of a player by any means. But on this day, 1998, the Twins traded Chuck Knobloch to the New York Yankees for $3 million and 4 minor leaguers.
He got the yips pretty bad at second base in his career with the Yankees.
Did. A few more here. On this day in 2000, the Pro Bowl was played. NFC. Man, the NFC dominates the AFC.
They did.
NFC beat the AFC 51-31. Who was the MVP? It was a wide receiver.
NFC 2000, Randy Moss.
Yes, Randy Moss. On this day in 2005, who won the Super Bowl?
05, so it was the 04 season.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Patriots over Eagles?
Was the Patriots over the Eagles in Jacksonville, Florida, 24-21. Can you name me the MVP?
Was it Deion Branch?
It was Deion Branch. Look at you. It's like you read these earlier or something.
I didn't. I promise. I remember.
All right. On this day, 2011, who won the Super Bowl?
Packers over Steelers?
Yep, I hated that Super Bowl. I thought it was so
It was
boring.
terrible.
31-25. It was actually a decent game. Who was MVP?
Pittsburgh scored a touchdown with like 10 seconds left or something
did
to
they?
make it that close. Was it Rodgers?
It was Aaron Rodgers.
No.
And lastly, on this day last year in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, the AFC beat the NFC 41-35 in the Pro Bowl. Who were the MVPs?
Who was not in the Super
Two
Bowl?
AFC guys were MVPs.
Mahomes,
No, good guess though.
Herbert.
Herbert was one.
What position does this other guy play?
D end.
Frank Clark.
Max Crosby.
Oh,
Vegas' own Max Crosby. And I just realized I didn't pull the banner up. But that's for all the viewers on the ISC Sports Network or watching live on the Tandem J-Man show Facebook. I didn't have the banner up, but everybody listening can't see the banner. So, but for all the viewers and listeners, the Honest Day segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting at Moody Woodcrafts on Instagram and Facebook. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man show sent you, you can get 15% off your order.
Kyrie Irving traded
jerk.
from the Brooklyn Nets to the Dallas Mavericks.
Is it official now? I saw earlier today that it wasn't official yet because the Mavs were seeing if one more team, or the Nets were seeing if one more team could get involved.
Oh. I have no idea, honestly.
Okay, I'm guessing.
But Kyrie Irving is arguably the greatest cancer of any NBA player of our lifetime. Worse than Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman went out there and did his job, at least.
Yes.
Kyrie refused to play. Wasn't happy in Cleveland, surrounded by superstars. Wasn't happy in Boston when he was the superstar. Not happy in Brooklyn, where he's surrounded by Kevin Durant, even James Harden last year. He's not going to be happy in Dallas. He's not going to have the ball as much. Luka is the dude. And if I'm Dallas, I'm scared that it ruins your relationship with Luka.
100%. If I'm all the other teams, I'm starting to see what I can package to try to get them in the future.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I did find it funny that the Brooklyn Nets owner said, or supposedly, that he was okay with trading Kyrie Irving to anywhere except LA because LA is where Kyrie wanted to be.
Both LA teams wanted him.
Yeah. So that's kind of a hilarious pettiness there by the Nets owner. But Kyrie and Kevin Durant ended up playing 75 games together in 4 years. That's it.
Yeah, he's a great basketball player, but he's not worth the headache.
No.
If I was the Nets, I mean, they got a decent haul for him, so I understand why they did it. But I want it as just a casual NBA guy who actually is a Seattle Supersonics fan. I wanted them just to hold on to him and make him sell the rest of the season.
Yeah. I find it funny that Kyrie thinks he's going to get a max deal. Who's going to give him a max deal if he's not going to play? He's hurt all the time. He's whining. He's putting anti-Semitic stuff out there. He's a joke.
Yep.
Absolute great basketball player. One of the top when he's healthy, head on straight, top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah. But how often is he healthy and head on straight? Hadn't happened for years.
Yeah, never.
So, yeah, he is a mess. Yeah, I think this crumbles Dallas. I think it was stupid for them to do this, but we'll see how it plays out. Did you see what Bones Highland's doing out in Denver?
Mm-mm.
You know, he's a second-year guy, really popular out there, been playing well. They're number one team in the West right now. They're on pace to do something they've never done in the history, you know, if it keeps up of their franchise and get to the NBA Finals, which I hope they do for my bold prediction. But he comes out, starts complaining that he wants a bigger role with the team. And he's in line to win the sixth man of the year. So Mike Malone benched him and is refusing to play him, and now it looks like they're going to trade him because they're just not having it. Players came out against them. Pretty much, you know, Murray pretty much said, you know, we're winning games. Yeah. And, you know, and he's still played a lot of minutes. He's playing good basketball, but he went on a national show, or I think it was to one of the TNT guys, and complained about his role, that he wanted a bigger role. It's like, okay, they'll ship you off to somewhere like Charlotte or Sacramento, and you can go have a bigger role and never win anything.
Sacramento, I think, is top 4 seed in the.
Are they really? Well, I just threw them out there because they're usually losing. I know Charlotte's not good.
Yeah, so. Charlotte's terrible. That's selfish. Like, you clearly don't care about the team or winning. You just care about yourself.
Yep. And it's too bad because, like I said, he was a fan favorite out in Denver, and now the fans are like, okay, screw this guy. Yeah. Like, that's what he's going to be about. And NBA, man, it's a crazy league. There's more selfish guys in the NBA than any other professional league.
Easily.
Which there's a lot of selfish football players and baseball players too, and I'm sure there's some hockey players, but NBA is all about stats. Yep. There's a reason a lot of them don't even shoot buzzer beaters. From like half quarter on, because they don't want to shoot up their or mess up their shooting percentage. So give me a break.
They might do it end of game if it's close, but definitely not end of quarter.
Give me a break. Give me a break. But glad you brought that up, because that was a hot topic that I did want to discuss, because he's just something.
And the media covers him and covers him and covers him, and he barely plays. Hopefully, him being in Dallas, they'll stop covering him a little bit.
It looks like LeBron this week will pass Kareem for the NBA's all-time leading scorer. So.
Probably. He was only maybe 60 points away or something like that.
Here's a good question for you. What team has LeBron scored the most points against?
He's in the East for a majority of he's in Cleveland, obviously, Miami. The Bulls?
No. Good guess, though.
Bucks, Pacers, Pistons?
Bucks 1, Pacers 2.
Yep. I figured it was one of those divisions in that division.
Because at first I was kind of surprised by it, and then I thought, oh, duh, he played Cleveland for so long. Yeah. That's in their division. So
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right.
I got some more association here for you. It's actually baseball related.
Oh,
Sweet. Yeah. The World Baseball Classic, which I am not a fan of.
I've never liked it.
Starts here in about 4 weeks or so. The reason why I don't like it is it takes place during spring training, and guys are getting to their teams like 2 weeks before the season starts. A lot of those guys go on to not have very good years. So, like, Seiya Suzuki's playing for Japan. We got Matt Mervis, one of their top hitting prospects, playing for what is he playing for? Team Italy, Team Israel? I don't remember. So like, I don't like guys missing spring training. I wish they played the World Baseball Classic in like January when nothing's going on.
I saw where Cashman blocked Luis Severino from playing for whoever he was going to play for.
Marcus Stroman's playing for somebody, so those guys won't even be around their team until a week or two before the season. They're going and playing competitive baseball the whole time. They can't even work on themselves, and getting in that good of hitting shape. Anyway, that got me thinking, what was the U.S. World Baseball Classic roster the first year, 2006? So I have 14 guys.
I felt like it was stacked then because I remember you could play with it on MVP Baseball on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
2, I think.
This team is loaded. Looking at it here, there's 2, 3. There's like 3 for sure Hall of Famers. 1 should be a Hall of Famer, but he's a steroid guy. 2 should be Hall of Famers, but steroid guys. 1 guy might get in this year, like loaded. Starting with Roger Clemens.
Rocket. Steroid guy, one that should be in the Hall of Fame, probably never will be, but it was good wherever he was. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Yankees, even Astros as an old guy, then back on the Yankees again. I just remember Steinbrenner throwing out his checkbook to him when he was old and playing half the season.
Yeah, didn't have to come to games except for his starts. They'd fly him in for each start.
Yeah, and he showed up that one day in the Bronx and took over the microphone in the press box and announced to the stadium that he was back. And then there was that funny video of like way in the future, and he's like 90-some years old. I want to pitch. And
I completely forgot about that.
Steinbrenner's a brain, and he's like Brian Cashman Jr. is the GM. He's like, Brian, sign this man. Rocket. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's obviously a great pitcher, but I think I'll remember him most.
So he's a jerk.
Throwing the shards of a bat at Mike Piazza.
That was awesome.
In the World Series. Al Leiter.
Oh man, lefty for the Mets. That's where I remember the Mets. I know he's a Marlin too, and I'm probably forgetting a few other teams, but Steady Al.
Marlin. Yeah.
Steady Al. He's always a good pitcher to be on those old video games.
Mm-hmm. Brad Lidge.
Notre Dame grad.
Yeah.
Was a good closer for the Astros, had a couple good years, and then just kind of fell off.
Yeah. He had a great year with the Phillies when they won the World Series, but it was terrible after that.
No, 8.
Yeah, he's probably most known for giving up a 700-foot homer to Albert Pujols in the NLCS. Thing still hasn't landed. Jake Peavy.
That's a name I haven't thought of in a while. Was good until the White Sox traded for him.
Yeah. He was great with the Padres.
He really went downhill. Yeah. But yeah, he was a good Padre, was steady. It's one of those pitchers that was getting a lot of attention, but we never saw play because the West Coast's never on TV, or if it is, it's the Dodgers now, and you just don't stay up late to watch the Padres.
Yep. Dontrelle Willis.
D-Train, sideways hat, crooked hat, was awesome for the Marlins, was okay for the Tigers. But yeah, he was part of that 03 Marlins team that broke the Cubs' hearts and then dominated the Yankees in the World Series.
Yep. Big leg kick. I remember when he came up. Holy crap. Jason Varitek.
Jason Varitek, as a Yankee fan, didn't like him. He was heart and soul of the Red Sox for many, many years. Punched A-Rod in the face. Mm-hmm. I actually miss when that rivalry was like that. That rivalry's not even close to what they used to be.
I don't see too many rivalries like that in baseball anymore.
Brzezinski and Barrett, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You just don't see. But yeah, Varitek was good. I mean, solid for that team. He was the captain of the Red Sox.
Yep. Derek Jeter.
Captain of the Yankees. Like I said, it was the latest captain until Aaron Judge just got appointed captain a few weeks ago. Heart and soul of the Yankees. Maybe my favorite baseball player of all time. I don't know. That's a tough question for me to answer, but he's up there. Look, dude doesn't age.
Yeah, he looks the
commercials the
exact
other day. He
same.
looks just like he
Yeah.
did when he was 30-some. So, even though he's a Hall of Famer, don't get me wrong, got more recognition because he was a Yankee than he would have anywhere else.
For sure. Chipper Jones.
Oh, I like Chipper growing up.
Mhm.
Him and Andrew Jones, the Jones brothers, as I used to call them, even though they're not related, for the Braves. He was the heart and soul and the face of those Braves teams, besides the pitchers, maybe Mannix, Smoltz, Glavine, of winning all those AL East titles for years and years and years when we were growing up, and just seemed like a good dude.
Yeah. Derek Lee.
I liked his last name. Good for the Marlins, even better for the Cubs. Great trade for Hee-Seop Choi. They fleeced the Marlins. Looking back, that's who that was involved, right, in that trade.
Yep, straight up.
Yeah,
for Hee-Seop.
Yeah, he was a really, really good baseball player for the Cubs.
Chase Utley.
Yankee killer in the 2009 playoffs, even though they beat the Phillies.
He might be a Hall of Famer this year. He might be a first ballot guy, which is surprising.
He was good. Him and Jimmy Rollins and Cole Hamels and, like you said, Brad Lidge, some of those guys, they were really good for those 2 years.
Bobby Abreu's a guy. He was so underrated.
Yeah. He was even good in his old age for a couple of years for the Yankees.
Yeah. A-Rod.
I still like A-Rod to this day. A lot of people don't, especially a lot of women. They think he's a jerk, and probably rightfully so.
Yeah.
But guy that didn't need steroids. That's what's maddening. He didn't need them. He was going to be great without them. Was good everywhere he went. Mariners, Rangers, which is still weird to look back on his Rangers career. Then Yankees. Got one ring. Finally got that ring in 2009. Was definitely a shortstop, not a third baseman, but had to do what he had to do. And he's still in the media today. He's still in the headlines.
Yeah. Johnny Damon.
A guy I hated and then loved, and actually had his jersey when he was a Yankee. Yeah. It's funny what I was just talking with one of our friends the other day. It's funny how sports can do that to you as fans. Sometimes you hate a guy, and then he wears your team's jersey or uniform, and you flip your opinion on him, or maybe you do after a year or so. But you can't beat Johnny Damon when he's the caveman, though.
Yeah,
on the Red Sox. I don't remember his A's days very well, but the Red Sox, and then the Yankees.
Matt Holliday.
Good Colorado Rocky, and he was safe, Josh, by the way.
That's it. That's one of those things that you look at it 100 times and can't tell.
Oh, you can't. Can't
tell if he was safe or he was out. It was so close.
Against the Padres in the extra game to get into the playoffs. But it was good on the A's, good on the Rockies, pretty good on the Cardinals. Solid baseball player. Now his son's in the league.
Yep. He's the number 1 overall pick this past year, son Jackson. Supposedly he has another son that's going to be a really good one too.
Goes in the
family. His brother was the head baseball coach at Oklahoma State. Holliday was bench coach, I believe, for the Cardinals. He was hired this past year, but then he decided to not do that, so he's no longer there. But last one here, notable steroid guy, King Griffey Jr.
Oh, that's going to get a front reaction from Andrew Eiler. Best swing in baseball all time. It's pretty. Man, he was cool, especially for the Mariners. Cool, he was cool. I saw a pair of his shoes the other day. Some shoe manufacturer had a discount going on for a shoe, and I'm like, man, that's a sharp shoe. If I thought I could pull that off, I would get those, but I don't think I can at the age of almost 31. That's for the young kids nowadays. But backwards hat, swing man. I remember seeing him in the first year with the Reds. I saw him play in Sarasota in spring training. The buzz was crazy. Crazy for him, and just couldn't stay healthy, unfortunately. Hamstrings, man. Hamstrings.
Yeah. That's all I got for you.
I like that list. That was a good word association segment, which is brought to you by Like It Is Every Week. Performer Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Performer Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call today at 574-210-3815.
Yes, sir. College hoops.
Interesting weekend around the country. A lot of upsets. A lot of big boys went down, including, unfortunately, my number one ranked, still number 1 ranked, Purdue Boilermakers. I don't know if I ever recall that, Josh. Have you? Where a number one team in the country loses and doesn't fall?
Did Tennessee lose earlier in the week?
To Florida, yeah.
That's probably why.
By 14 or 15 points.
Yeah, because they ended up winning against Auburn at home, who's ranked. Who else? Who's third? Houston. They lost early in their week too, didn't they?
Houston didn't. I don't believe they lost. It's just how they lost to Temple a couple weeks ago. Let me see. Maybe they did lose. I don't think they lost though.
Yeah, you don't see that very often though.
Let me see here.
You knew that one was going to be an absolute.
Houston killed Temple yesterday.
And
yeah. Oh no, they beat Wichita State. Temple won both their games, but they're still ranked third at 22-2.
You knew it was going to be tough. Place is going to be rocking. I don't think many people thought IU would come out and score 50 points in the first half. Just punched them in the mouth early, and Purdue fought back though. And I know there's no moral victories, especially when you lose a rival like that. But you got to like the way they didn't just fold.
Yeah, I do. You're right. I mean,
they could have folded, but
that
doesn't make it feel any better.
In their previous loss against Rutgers, 1 pointer, they were down 12.5, but that was at home, so I was like, okay, they can come back. The other day down 15, I'm like, I hadn't totally given up yet at that point, but I was feeling pretty down. I'm like, they got to get back in it within the first 5 minutes. They really didn't do that, but then by the first 10 minutes of the half, they had cut it down pretty severely. I don't remember what it was exactly. And then they got cleared down to 1 towards with about a little over a minute left. And Race Thompson got fouled, went to the line, hit them both, and then Purdue turned it over. And then in the end, ended up winning 79-74. But yeah, you're right. It was a bloodbath. IU shot the ball amazingly in the first half, close to 60%. They were giving IU what they wanted as far as mid-range jumpers. IU was just hitting them. Hood Schifino was the good Hood Schifino. Tracy Jackson-Davis, really good game. Guys were hitting in the first half. Miller Cobb, a few others. But then second half, a lot of them woke up and weren't hitting as much. And Purdue actually outshot them in the second half. A lot of it was Zach Edey down low, which IU didn't have an answer for. Nobody has an answer for the guy anymore. He's 30-plus points again, 18 rebounds, was a Big Ten Player of the Week again for a 6th time, which ties Biggie Swanigan for the most in Purdue history. He's only one back of Evan Turner's all-time record of 7 in a season. Got to think he'll probably get another one at some point.
Yeah.
But those two guys went at it. It was fun to watch those two going at it. I thought Trace Jackson-Davis was trying to get himself in a fight early in the game when he chest bumped Mason Gillis. That's the one guy at Purdue I wouldn't want to fight out of all of them. He's the one I wouldn't want to pick on. Yeah. But no, you're right. I mean, of course, I would want to win that game, and I want to beat them worse than I do any other opponent. But Purdue fought back when they could have just got their doors blown off them. And that showed me a lot about the team, a lot of that they're resilient, and they grind, and they're mature. I mean, the freshman guards did struggle at times.
It's a tough environment. Probably the toughest they've played in all year, easily.
My dad was telling me the next day he remembered Alford going into Mackey first time having 0 points. Damon Bailey going in having 2. I remember Romeo struggling at Mackey. And just in that rivalry, you get that a lot of times out of freshmen in their first experience. They'll meet up again here in a couple weeks on the 25th at Mackey. That's a 7:30 night game. You got to think the result will be flipped there, or a good chance it will be flipped. But hopefully Dick Vitale's not on the call there. I don't think I can take another few hours of him.
Terrible.
Didn't call back to Knight and Katie as much as I thought he was going to, but still quite a few times. It could have got really ugly there. Indiana fans threw stuff on the court 2 different times. Not sure how they didn't get technical the second time.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused by that. Because the first time was supposedly a half-eaten donut was thrown at the Purdue huddle during timeout, and second time was something on the court. I'm not sure what it was. Which Matt was saying it was 3 times, because you saw the ref, he was doing this. Like, this is the 3rd time something's got thrown, and and the awful thing about scenarios like that, it could always be an away fan too, throwing something, you know what I'm saying? So he can never, but I did think Vitale addressing that was good on commentary. He said, no need for that. Find that person, kick them out. So pretty hostile environment the other day. I was surprised that Indiana rushed the court. I do understand it's students. So the students are only a part of the fan base. That's 18 to 22-year-olds. They're going to have their fun. I'm guessing it's just because Purdue was ranked number 1, but that's back-to-back years now. Purdue has or they've rushed the court against Purdue. And I just always laugh about the little brother, big brother arguments. It's just interesting that they rushed the court. I was just surprised by that.
They are the kings of making fun of other schools rushing the court. Yeah. They do it more than anyone.
Yeah, they've done it quite a few times over the last 13 years.
They rushed the court against the number 24 Illinois team in 2011.
They hadn't won a Big Ten game for like an ages then.
Doesn't matter.
I know. I remember that game. Yeah,
beating the number 1 Kentucky, that makes sense. Second
the way that happened, yes.
Yeah. It's just like, sure, I honestly don't care if fans or students rush the court. It's whatever, but at least don't be the people ripping on other teams doing it, and then you do the same thing.
So. Well, it's interesting that 5 of Purdue's last 6 road losses, they've got the court rushed on them.
Really?
The one they didn't was the buzzer beater against Michigan State last year.
Yeah, they're not going to rush. When's the last time Michigan State's rushed the court?
Exactly.
Ever?
Michigan State's a blue blood, or at least they think, that's their mindset. I can tell you, Purdue's last time they rushed the court was 2008 when they beat a ranked Wisconsin team with the Baby Boilers. Because even when Purdue sucked, when I was a student, the student body, or the paint crew student body,
it's tough to rush the court.
It is. You got to jump down.
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember Purdue almost beat Michigan. Michigan was a top 10, if not top 5 team, and Glitter Robson Jr. broke the hearts of Purdue everywhere in overtime. But even if they would have won that game, we as students weren't going to rush the court because our mindset was we're at home, we're expected to win this game.
Right.
Even though we were major underdogs. That was just the mindset. And so I'm not saying, 18, 20-year-old students to 22-year-old students are going to do what they want, have fun. I was just surprised because, especially with IU being ranked 21st, it just took me by surprise.
Yeah. Illinois fans rushed the court in 2019 after they beat number 5 Michigan State. And IO after the game said that is the last time you guys are allowed to rush the court.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they haven't since.
Yep.
And
so interesting look, I thought.
Yeah. Let's go through and pick some games here real quick. Good one tomorrow night. 24 Rutgers at number 18 Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana goes up 3 spots. They split last week, losing at Maryland, but then beat Purdue, of course. Indiana hadn't beat Rutgers in like 8 or 9 straight games.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Rutgers kind of owns the state of Indiana. I'm going to take Indiana, though, in a close one.
Yeah, I think Indiana might come out a little flat after beating number 1 Purdue. And Rutgers can make you come out flat, too, because they have the best defense in the Big Ten this year. They struggle offensively. Cliff Omoruyi, though, can hold his own against Trace Jackson Davis. I think Indiana in a close one as well.
I wouldn't be surprised either way. So,
yeah. Big one here for the home team, Maryland at Michigan State.
Yeah. Michigan State's got to get this one, don't they?
I don't understand how they're safely in the tournament. Their best win is Iowa at home.
Committee loves Tom and loves Michigan State. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah. It's the brand.
They have a road win at Wisconsin. Wisconsin blows. They have a win against Kentucky. Kentucky is hanging on by a thread right now in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think if this was at Maryland, I'd pick Maryland. But since it's in East Lansing, I think they get this one done.
Coming off a loss, too, I think Michigan State wins that one. Minnesota has COVID issues. So, unfortunately for Illinois, after losing a real tough one on Saturday, they don't get a get-right game and get confidence against Minnesota this week.
Hey, the Big Ten can pack their schedule together tightly before they play at Purdue. That's
exactly what they'll probably do because the only open spots sounds like February 25th or February 28th. So, but yeah, that sucked because Illinois is going to win that one by 30.
Yeah, that does suck.
Wednesday here, if my computer loads, Nebraska at Michigan. Nebraska got a win yesterday against a bad loss for Penn State.
Yeah. Michigan's starting to get right a little bit. They need to do a little more work to get in the tournament, but they're starting to trend They're starting to trend the right direction. I'll take Michigan.
Give me Michigan at home. Wisconsin at Penn State. Both teams need it. I don't think either team gets in though.
Penn State gets this done at home.
I agree. That was a bad loss for him yesterday. Thursday night we have Iowa at Purdue.
This game scares me because I was starting to. Well, I call them very hot, and I look. They won 3 out of the last 5, but they're all 3 have been home games. Thankfully,
and
Purdue doesn't have
one of the games they were allowed to shoot 35 free throws, including 26 in the second half.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't talk about that at all till right now. I'm surprised it took you this long, to be honest.
Still too pissed off, to be honest.
But this is the only time these two teams play. I think Purdue gets it done, but I could see it being a pretty close game.
I don't think Iowa's very good. They'll make the tournament. Purdue fairly easily. Northwestern at Ohio State.
Got a prediction. McCaffrey's going to be Notre Dame's next head coach.
I honestly hope so, because I think he's a heck of a basketball coach, and I want Iowa to be bad at basketball again, because those were some fun years.
Well, he might have. Maybe he's kind of peaked at Iowa, and his wife went to Notre Dame. He likes the South Bend area. He used to be at Bethel, so.
Yeah, Connor's graduating from med school this year. He's been in school so long. I don't even know if he's probably not a medical student.
Who'd you say? I'm sorry, at Ohio State.
Northwestern.
Give me Wildcats. I have no faith in the Buckeyes at all.
I have zero faith in the Buckeyes. Northwestern, big win yesterday. If Northwestern would not have won yesterday at Wisconsin, I don't think they get in. They have a better chance now, but they can't lose on the road at Ohio State. But give me the Buckeyes. I think they bounce back. I'm never picking Northwestern. Can't stand them. Are there any games Friday night? No, there are not. Saturday afternoon games here. We have Penn State at Maryland.
Maryland.
Give me Maryland on that one. They're 12-1 at home. Rutgers at Illinois. Tough week for Rutgers.
Yeah, I think Illinois gets this done. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Gets all week to prepare for Rutgers. Rutgers has to play against a tough Indiana team. So I'll take Illinois home.
First 1 to 50 wins this one. Top 2 teams in defense in the Big Ten. Both teams struggle on offense at times. Give me Illinois in a real close one. I'm going to skip over Wisconsin, Nebraska. Indiana at Michigan.
Well, I'll take Nebraska. But Indiana at Michigan, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good week for Michigan. I don't trust IU on the road. I don't. They're great at home. I don't trust them on the road.
I don't either. Give me Indiana, though. I think they're better than Michigan.
I think they're better
Iowa
too,
at Minnesota.
Iowa.
If this game's played, I'll take Iowa. Michigan State at Ohio State. Big one there as well.
Michigan State.
Yeah, give me Michigan State. And then Purdue at Northwestern.
I think Purdue gets it done. I think too much size for Northwestern.
There is no way Northwestern can guard Zach Edey. No one can, as we said.
And Purdue should have a good showing there too for fans. So.
Yeah, absolutely should. Absolutely should. Any other Big Ten hoops thoughts?
I got nothing. It's just a logjam from 3 to 7. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, coin flip right now. Illinois went from came into Saturday second. Now I think they're sixth because they've lost to Maryland, Iowa, Indiana, and Northwestern. All the teams ahead of them.
All the big ones. Yep.
So.
Yeah. All right, Birdie or Bogey. Kobe Bryant back in 2009 scored 61 points in a win over the Knicks, which at the time was a Madison Square Garden record for an opposing player that since has been tied by whom?
Is it Donovan Mitchell?
Nope.
Oh, shoot. Who is it?
Good guess. James Harden.
Wasn't even on my radar. Probably should have been.
James Harden's one of those guys. Not a good teammate. He's kind of like Kyrie, never happy wherever he goes.
Kyrie.
But he puts up tons of stats, win multiple All-Star games, wins scoring titles. But we're not going to talk about him 20 years from now because he wins nothing.
Yeah. Terrible defensively. He's going to be a Hall of Fame guy that we just don't remember.
That's who I compare Kyrie Irving talent-wise to and with, but he's can't get along with anybody.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. We'll be back at it next Monday with another episode. Have a great Super Bowl weekend, everybody.